Hey, Kenny, just wanted to get your general thoughts on the offense coming out of spring game, how they did on that day, and how that was for a culmination of the spring.
I thought they did a nice job executing. I mean, when you watch the tape, there's not a lot of catastrophes. There's some negative plays, some of those self-induced, some of those, tag mode of the quarterback, which is part of a spring game, right? But most of the time, we gave ourselves a chance to be successful, especially with that first group. And that was something we didn't do a lot of the time last year. A lot of the time we had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. Scrimmage too, we had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. So I was happy. We had no bad snaps, limited penalties. We definitely increased our ability to process and make decisions. I mean, we put our guys in situations where we made a game day adjustment within the scrimmage with how we were going to do something to make them have to apply it, and they did it really well. So I was pleased with how they performed as a whole, and I thought we got a lot better this spring.
Going to Brendan.
Hey, Kenny. Malik McClain comes up with a couple of nice catches, including the one down the sideline. I guess, one, can you evaluate that catch, how impressive that is, that skill set to go ahead and make that diving catch? And then two, I guess just what areas did you see him improve in from the start of spring until day 15?
Evaluating the catch, that really high skill set to make that catch. I was very happy that he made the play. That's what we saw when we were recruiting him, the size, the speed, the length, the combination. And then he has that dog in him where he's competitive. And that's what you can't coach. You can't coach the dog in somebody, and he's got the dog. And then as a whole, he's a guy who took advantage of every single rep. There were no plays off. He may not have been on the field, but he was paying attention. And you can tell the difference because when you're looking at him and you're talking to him and you're teaching him, some people hear, other people listen. And what I mean by that is some people can repeat what you said, and other people are listening to what you said in the context and how to apply it. He's a kid for an 18-year-old to be able to listen at his age is going to help him make those plays because it's going to help him get on the field.
Yeah, Coach, first off, can you confirm that Jeff Cameron will never be invited back to call plays again?
I cannot. That is above my pay grade, but I hope he never is. Just kidding.
Seriously. Obviously, McKenzie, there's so much, I guess, thrown on him, learning a new offense, coming back from the layoff. Looking back at the course of the 15 days, how would you evaluate kind of what you saw to him over that time?
Constant improvement. I mean, obviously he knew football, right? But constant improvement. I mean, you're talking about a kid who hasn't really played in a live setting or as close to a live setting in over 2 years and in a new system. So every single day he got a little more comfortable. He had his good days, his bad days, but he got a little more comfortable. He learned from those mistakes. And when you're in a new system, that's all you can really ask is don't make the same mistake twice. If we're going through a read and you think you can fit the ball over the corner in a high-low, right, and the guy sinks off of it and the ball's batted down, I'm with you. Just don't do it again, right? And that's a guy who the more comfortable he got within the system in terms of where people are going to be on the field, how we teach releases, those little details he had to get used to, and he had constant improvement in that. And then just fundamentally, I talked to him, we're going to improve on driving off our back foot and throws from the pocket. That's something that we got to be, as a group, we got to get better at is pocket movements and keeping a base in the pocket. And that's something I challenged him with. And he took that challenge, and now it's on them. That entire quarterback room, it's on them. Like I said, those guys know the system. They know how to self-correct themselves. They know when a throw feels good and why it shouldn't feel good for the most part. So now it's on them to see who prepares the next 3 months.
Going off that, just talk about Jordan Travis and just kind of the growth you saw from him and what you'd like to see him continue with during the summer.
The growth in him is, can't put it in words. I mean, I could try to describe it, but I can't put it in words. And not just as a football player, but as a person, as a leader, as everything about him. I couldn't describe. There's not a word that would do it justice, the growth he's made. And like I talked to him yesterday, is he's raised his standard of just living in every aspect of his life, right? And he's raised the standard of what a work ethic is on the field. And there were still days where you would see his work ethic and then he would just give a little bit more. And that was the challenge with him is, okay, you've raised the baseline. You practiced good every day. You may not have made the right read sometimes, but you practiced well every single day. Some days you practiced better and you gave a little bit more. Now that's the next step. We've created the baseline of good. You show that you can be great. Now let's be consistent with the next step. And for him, just getting more consistent with his feet have gotten consistent a lot better than they were, right? And there's still more room to grow. I'm sorry. And for him, once again, similar to McKenzie, he's a guy who's starting to feel what it's supposed to feel like. Starting to feel when he's late to throw, starting to feel when he's early, starting to feel when his feet are underneath him, starting to say, hey, coach, can I tweak this drop because I feel like I'm late to this throw, right? That's what we want, and that's to the point where he's getting. So I can't describe enough how proud I am of that kid.
Going to Perry.
Coach, this is the playmakers offense, and we saw Saturday that there's depth on depth when it comes to the running backs, to the wide receivers, to the running backs / wide receivers. Like, everything is there. How do you look to emphasize that moving forward this season?
I think that's where tempo comes into play. You know, when you can keep people fresh, you can play faster, right? And that can be our advantage. And we talk about it all the time. You know, we're not trying to hurry up to mess up. That's not the system. The system is not play as fast as you can and take TFLs and hope you get lucky and the defense falls down and you score touchdowns. That's not what we do, right? We want to play fast, right, and always account for numbers. Well, the more people we have on our roster that we feel comfortable with, right, the faster we can play and we can limit what we call because we know we're going to have guys who can win one-on-ones consistently. And the more you can count on guys to win one-on-ones, the faster you can play. And that's really it. If you can count on a guy to win a one-on-one versus a boundary corner 7 out of 10 times, you can play fast. If you can't, you can't. And because the game comes down to one-on-ones. Either you're going to dictate it as a player or we're going to have to dictate it more as a coach by slowing the tempo down.
Going to Adlon.
Hey, Kenny, I think it was McKenzie's second drive. I think it was a throw to Pokey that was incomplete, and you guys kicked a field goal. I don't know if you recall that play, but how did you guys grade that? Was that a drop? Was that a misthrow? Was that a good breakup by the defensive back?
I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to process.
And I'm sorry.
I am not Sean McVay, so I cannot recall the 1970 Super Bowl. The second drive.
It's fair. I'll ask, how about the running game? Do you think you guys were able to get a good read on? We keep talking about the quarterback play, but obviously the run game is really important to you guys. Were you able to get a good read of what you have there throughout the spring?
Yeah, I thought we did a nice job. I think we had some injuries, which allowed us to get a lot of guys in different spots. You know, somebody I was really pleased with. I mean, Darius did a nice job all spring. Mo did a nice job. Bavion coming back mid-spring and playing a little bit of guard for us. Lloyd coming in and playing some tackle with the ones. I mean, I think our running game is going to be improved. But like I said about every position on the field, we should be improved. We've got everybody back. There's no excuse to not get better at this point, right? And then how much better is up to the work ethic. And I think that group led by Coach Atkins has done a phenomenal job. And I feel good about where we're going to be. And I do recall that play now. Sorry, while I was answering that question, I was thinking about that. And that was kind of both. It was kind of a detail on both of those guys, you know, with the release angle combined with the ball. They just weren't completely on the same page. And that comes with practice, you know, and I actually talked to our team about that yesterday is at this point in the year, we know why things don't work. You know, last year at this point, we were trying to learn what I run on whatever play call we call. This time, we know we're starting to understand the detail of why something doesn't work, right? So those are the things that can be fixed on their own, right? And those are the things that they can go out there and work on the next 3 months when we can't be around because they understand why it wasn't complete.
Coach, one of the more frustrating and negative things that can happen and seemed to happen some last year when you would have a drive going is that a receiver would run a good route, get a good pass thrown to him, and drop it. Are you seeing improvement this spring in the catching the passes, and how do you work on that?
I did, and those wideouts did a good job this offseason. They were catching. They had partners. They decided to pair up and start catching 100 balls a day with each other, and hold each other accountable to catch it. And I think that did show up. But that was 2 months before spring ball. Then when you get in spring ball, I mean, they catch as many balls as we possibly could throw to them. Then they get on the jugs after practice. So they definitely made it a point of emphasis to try to get better in that category, right? But going back to, like I'm going to continue to say, it's all about what they're going to do next, right? They're at a certain point, right? Some people are going to continue to get better these next 3 months, right? Some people are going to stay the same, right? They need to push themselves, right, on their own to be the very best they can be these next 3 months.
Hey, Kenny, you mentioned at one point that Lloyd Willis was getting some reps with the ones at left tackle. I guess, how did he do kind of stepping into that role at times? And then I think when he was in there, Darius Washington got some reps at left guard. Is that something that you guys would like to kind of continue exploring with Darius?
I think Darius is just a versatile player, and he's intelligent. So when you have, I mean, that's what you want. When you're versatile and intelligent, we can move you all over the place, and it allows you to get your best 5 on the field when you have guys like Darius that can play both spots, right? Because if your next best guy is a tackle, Darius can move to guard. If your next best guy is a guard, Darius can stay a tackle. So I think the versatility that Darius provides us, I mean, is vital. Very similar to a Devontae Taylor, right? The versatility he creates allows us to try to get our best 5 on the field.
Going to Ira.
Not to beat a dead horse, but if you had to pick the worst call Jeff made, could you? Sorry, going back to the offense overall, when with everything that happened last year with Jordan in preseason camp and not being able to get a lot of reps, and then being thrown, and then you had Tate thrown into the mix, and then Jordan thrown in, like how much closer to the real offense are you guys running now compared to where you were like in the fall?
Oh, significantly closer. I mean, and to say the real offense, I mean, this system is going to adapt and it's going to change. I mean, that's what makes it good, is it's going to adapt and it's going to change based off its playmakers and based off of what guys we want to create one-on-ones with, right? But I definitely feel the grasp of the system for all of those quarterbacks is so much greater. I mean, I couldn't even explain. Like, I wasn't installing this spring. I was teaching football. And that's, in my opinion, where you make your greatest growth is, I can video install and teach something, and you can go and watch it and understand what the reads are, and you can repeat it to me, right? What separates people is when they start to understand the why. And that's what we spend all the time on. And those are the things I'm excited about is, I mean, McKenzie had that built-in kind of understanding of the why on some concepts because he's played so much ball, right? Jordan didn't get those reps, and Jordan, I mean, you leave camp, he understands the why on a lot of stuff. Tate Rodemaker understands the why. Chuba Purdy, right, is starting to understand the why. And that is what makes you a great quarterback.
And Matt.
Kenny, you talked a little bit about the growth and development from your quarterback room. Do you see any scenarios maybe next year where you could go multiple quarterbacks at times?
Yeah, I mean, crap. If they're our best players, we'll put them on the field. I mean, our job as a staff is to put our best players on the field. If we have 4 quarterbacks that are 4 of the best 11, you're going to see some crazy stuff. If we have 1 quarterback that's one of our best 11, then there'll be 1 dude on the field. But our job as a staff is to get the best players on the field that give us a chance to win.
Brendan.
Kenny, FSU announced today that there's going to be some camps in June. I guess, how nice is that going to be as a staff to, one, for you to be working back here where you cut your teeth coaching high school players, but then 2, to evaluate guys in person and actually getting to see things live?
That's awesome. I mean, being able to see guys in person, I mean, that's when you get your true evaluation of not just the football player, but the character. I mean, I tell guys all the time when I'm talking to them on, whatever platform I'm talking to them on, is you've got to want to be coached by me, and I've got to want to coach you because we're going to be around each other a lot. So if you don't like me and I don't like you, this probably ain't going to work out. And that's why I'm not fake in the recruiting process. I'm very real and very honest because at the end of the day, you're going to get here. And at the end of the day, you better know what you're getting yourself into. And I'll tell you this, everybody we recruit knows who I am. The good, the bad, the ugly, they know what they're going to get from me every day. And that's what excites me is I get to eval those kids. I get to coach them, and they get to see what it's going to be like the day they step on campus. It's the relationship piece of them being here just as much as the physical evaluation.
Last one going to Adlin.
Kenny, you're a coach. You're not a politician, but you might have to tap into like your inner Senator Dillingham here. But, you know, when it comes to Jordan, I mean, you said the growth in him you just can't put into words, not just as a football player. Coach Norvell said that his accuracy was next level. It sounds like there's maybe a guy that's ahead of the other guy in this race. Are you guys surprised by the progress that Jordan's made? And is Jordan ahead of the curve right now when it comes to starting for the quarterback job?
It is exactly, honestly, what we wanted. We brought in a guy with a ton of experience, a guy who understands what it takes to be successful in Mackenzie Milton, and we paired him with a young group. And Mackenzie has raised the bar of our quarterback room. I talked about an exit meeting with a quarterback today. The standard that Mackenzie holds for himself has raised the bar of our room. It's raised the bar of Jordan. It's raised the bar of Tate, Chubba, Gino, everybody by how he attacks every day, his competitive nature. And that was a big reason to bring him here, was we knew the person he was. And combine that with the fact that he's healthy, you can never have too many good quarterbacks. And I am blessed to be in the situation we're in. How was that for a political answer? Was that pretty good?
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.